Episode on the Nell Show, Why I Chose My Wife series. We continue. It is episode 8 already. We've come a long way, and I'm so excited. I'm glad. I'm happy for all the things that we have learned and all the things that we are going to continue to learn as we close out this episode, as we close out this series, this particular series. We'll just get right into it. Our amazing guest is here. You get to know a bit about him, and then we dive into the conversation. So let's go live. Okay, we're trying to send each other a request. Sometimes it happens with Instagram. As somebody that has been using Instagram for years now, it just happens. We'll just be going back and forth. Sometimes the request will not go through, but it would go through. To go through very, very shortly. Let's see. Okay. Let me cancel this and try it again. Go live. Okay, it has worked. Good morning. Hope you're right.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for choosing to be here this very early hour
It's
of the
4
morning
a.m.
at your side. I mean, I don't take it at all for granted. Thank you.
It's 4
Thank you,
a.m.
Mr.
Like, what am I doing up by this time?
But I'm so happy to have you here and just to have us reconnect. Thank you for choosing to do
Yeah,
this. I'm really grateful.
thank you.
And your
Thank you
background
for the
color is
invitation.
really nice. I like the.
Well, we will get into it in a minute. There's a reason why it's like this.
Why is like
My wife is
but whatever the reason, it's still beautiful. It's
yeah,
really, I like it. Just
awesome.
production said it is quite early. Oh, it is. It is.
It
So
is
for you to do
finally.
that, I really appreciate this. So
Exactly.
let's just
Thank
get
you.
right into it so that maybe yeah, Obra can go back to sleep or start work. Who
Start
knows?
work.
Let's get to know him a bit about Obira. Obi is a creative director at Age Studio. Please, did I pronounce that correctly?
Image Studio.
Image Studio,
Yeah.
an innovative digital solutions studio in the audiovisual industry based in Canada. He's also a professional project manager with over a decade experience in the project delivery space across multiple industries, non-for-profit, event technology, and gov tech. He's been married going on 5 years now to his life partner, as a Christian husband and a future father. Obi is very engaged with the immigrant community in his city, supporting young youths and young adults. He serves as the board of directors for the New Spring Church and is also a volunteer board member at the Routes Youth Center in Hamilton. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yes, in my egg. Yeah, that's how I pronounced it too. Which is why usually I don't. I just always ask, "Oh, what's the correct pronunciation?"
Yeah,
Always better to
absolutely.
get it right. Yeah, because at the end of the day, a lot of times it's not as it's spelled that it is pronounced.
Yes, that is
So
correct.
let us. Why did you choose to get married, Ovia? Before we even get to why you chose your wife, why did you even choose to get married in this day and age where men are successful as yourself are like, no, 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 I don't want marriage. I want every other thing. They keep amassing wealth and
Yeah.
success and influence. Well, you just see that it's just like people are, the more they amass it or the more they get it, the more they are not getting married. And that is why I even started out this series. Although that's the work I do, but
Mm-hmm.
starting out this series specifically for men, I needed to understand, since I deal with women and men that are going to get married, they're going to propose. So we need to get started with, why did you even get married? Why did you choose marriage? And you can go ahead to speak on why you think it looks as if some men are choosing to be single at this time.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for the invite. Yes, it's 4 a.m. Yes, it's morning in the kitchen. Yeah, I know I don't think we've actually connected like this in a long
You
time.
are,
So
yes,
this is a good one. Way back from what, almost to 2012,
yes,
2013.
yes.
So let's dive into it. Hope you guys brought your tea and your drink because it's gonna
Jakim
be
says
tough.
that your answer will influence his decision. Oh, please, I want Jakim to be married.
Absolutely.
This is not marriage.
Absolutely.
Please.
So let me start off just by saying, to answer the question, like, what made me decide to, kind of get into this thing that a lot of us came through. So it's not a strange thing. We're all born into a home, right? And so some of us had, both mom and dad. Most people, some other people grew up having just one. Most people also did not grow up having a father or a mother. Maybe they had a stepmom or a stepdad. Uh, for myself, I was blessed to have mom and dad for the time that it was. And I think getting to when I moved here from Nigeria in 2015, right? I came here to school to do a master's education, and at the time it was okay, go go there, get your education, and come back home to Nigeria. But then fast tracking a couple years from that, I knew I wanted to be married. So it wasn't something for me, it was one of those things like, okay, you go to school, you eat, you will eventually find somebody at some point, right? So it was a choice that I knew I was going to make, right? But then by the time and I never had, what people will say now, like they place an age on themselves to say, by this certain age, I will be, right? Mine was just, I knew that when it was time, I would know. Same thing with everything else. Same thing with going to school. Same thing with going for my youth service. Same thing with, starting a business on my own, right? Because of course, most of us after school, like the job market in Nigeria was not doing us good. So most of us just kind of went into it. So I always know when it's kind of time to get something done. So at the time, 2018, um, I just 2018, I just become a permanent resident here. And I felt, okay, at this time, I think now that I'm setting up my stay in the country, because honestly, if you're an immigrant, one of the things that is always on your mind is your stay in the country. So I came in as a student, and then I started to work, and from work, I said, okay, you could apply to get your permanent residence. That took its process, that took its own toll for over about a year and a half. But then later I got my permanent residence. Actually, that gave me even the confidence that, look, I can go back home, say hi to my folks, come back with my head fresh, which was exactly what I did, right? So in that space, I think it's time to just go back home and say hi for a bit. I wasn't seeing anybody there. I think even here too, I had not even taken the time to say, okay, I wanted to kind of date anyone or just hang out with anyone on a serious note. But 2018, I just knew that it's time. it's just time to get this thing done. However, it was going to happen, I wasn't
Mm.
sure. But I think the one thing, the biggest thing that every time I have a conversation like this is I went home and of course you could imagine all the mothers from my home church, my local church, were, hey, this guy is back. They say, come, come, come. I have this daughter. I have this cousin. She just came back from the UK. She just finished her youth says, come on, see her picture. The mothers on WhatsApp, they were showing me, like, this one is just finishing her law school degree. She's young, well, in fact, she can even join you there in Canada. And I was just like, what's going on? But then I spent I spent like 2 weeks in Nigeria, met some old friends, met some new friends. But when I was going, my mom prayed a prayer for me, and I think for that was the biggest thing. He said, you've always been able to make the right and choices in life. When it comes to finding a wife, I don't think you will disappoint us. Wherever she comes from, whether she's white, she's black, she's from Nigeria or she's not, being abroad, whoever you bring home, we would accept. And I think that kind of gave me the boldness to just go out there. And then I can tell you, I came back here to Canada in April, uh, some somewhere in September. I found somebody we started to date. 1 year after that, we were at the altar. And 4 years plus after, we are still in the same. She's sleeping. So, so yeah, I knew when it was time, and one of the other things I mentioned it was, you can always be friends, you can always be close to someone. Choosing a wife is a decision that you and you alone can make. Your family can't influence it. Friends around you can try, but the decision is still on you as the guy. I mean, I'm a person of faith, and one of the watchwords here is that he that finds a wife, finds a good thing. So there's a portion of you knowing that you're looking for something, and then when you find it, you know that you found a good thing. Hope
Mm.
that helps you answer my.
It does, and it is very detailed. Thank you for being interesting while also giving your answer. It was very detailed. It was very, very detailed. Okay, so between like you said, you got back from Nigeria and it was just maybe a few months time before you were able to connect with your wife, and then you didn't even date for too long
Yeah.
before you got married. Tell us how did you find, before we get to the why now, how were you not able to find your wife at the time? Do you think it was because of the headspace you were already at, being that you were searching, or
hmm
did you think that maybe people started bringing to your attention when you got back to Nigeria? What made you is it focused now? What made you aware to the realization of the fact that, hey, my wife is around? I would like you to please speak to us about the how
The
you
how.
both met.
Yeah. I think the word you just used, focus, is the right thing. Like, let your eyes be single. Like, you're absolutely focused. So, like I said, I came back from Nigeria, came back to Canada, and I just, okay, it's time to kind of just begin to put things in motion. So, like, my savings became aggressive. Actually, at the time I even went back to Nigeria, I took time off work, and then by the time I came back, I didn't want to go back to the same job. So I had like almost a month plus where I didn't have a job, right? But I saved quite enough where I was trying to figure out what was the next thing. And honestly, the job market at the time wasn't, I mean, till now, it's
Mm,
nothing as much. But then I was trying to figure out the next place. So, and then within about a month, I got something, not what I wanted to do, but it was something, right? And I said, you know what? Okay, this job, I'm going to maximize it. I'm going to get all I need. and to do. And for some reason, where the job was, my God, it was crazy getting there, like taking a train, taking a bus, taking another bus. And then I did that for like 2 weeks. And then a friend was going to travel back home to Nigeria as well. And he said, okay, can I take his car and drop him off at the airport and use the car? So within a couple of days, I was using this car. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to buy a car. So within a space of a week and a half, I got a car, and then I visited a kind of an uncle type person. There's a people that you call an uncle, and I was like, this guy is getting ready to marry. Like he has bought a car, he's a resident now, so he knows. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, true, 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 true. I was like, the front seat cannot be empty, right? So the front seat cannot be empty. So, but then for me, it was focus. I started seeing, people that were around me in some way, like you call them as potential, right? But then I know that, even that I've been around them for some time. We've worked together, we've done stuff. Most of us are actually either have schooled in the country for years, or most of us just came. So we knew some kind of things. But then it was also that point that I was putting something out there. I was confidently saying, I am ready to get into this thing. Now, beautifully, when you begin to confess things, when you begin to confidently say, it's time for me to do something, some people might think it doesn't work. The truth is, it does work. A good example is if you tell yourself, I want to buy a car, that's fine. But if once you say, I want to buy a red car, guess what? The next few days, all you'll be seeing on the road is red cars.
Yeah.
So it's once your mouth says something, and then your brain begins to lock in and focus on those things. So me, one thing I put down, I said before this year ends, I was going to know or have somebody that I was going to be engaged with. And surprisingly, I think that my pastor started doing this kind of like an intimate group. So like he was very passionate about like the young adults, and so it was like, all of you should get married, all of you should get married. So, like,
We're in the same boat,
yeah,
oh.
we're saying, but so
Like forgetting.
he would on Sundays after service he would gather all of us, so like a bunch of us were like probably like 15, 16, a mix of young men, and these are people that had good jobs. Everybody was doing something, and then he would gather us in the room and he would talk, 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 talk. And on one of those Sundays, it just kind of hit me. I was like, you know what? I'm giving myself 4 months, kind of like a school term. So like a school term was here is like 4 months. So I was I jokingly just said I'm going to give myself 4 months to go through like a training, and then 4 months time to kind of do what we refer as a co-op, so like an internship, right? So 4 months, I'm going to hustle down. Around 4 months, I'm going to do it. And in that 4 months, I told them I will not be in this class again because I am going to be married. And I can tell you, like joke. September made it 8 months. I was on the altar, done and done. So I think a lot of time is that men now, while we want it, is not something that we practically go for. And this applies to life. Anything that you're doing, you want to take a course, you want to switch from what you schooled into to pick the pivot into something else. You have to take like tangible steps. You have to begin to say that once again, I'm a person of faith. Whatever you start thinking, you become. So if you've not started thinking that you want to be a husband, unfortunately, it might happen, but it will just happen on the side. Maybe somebody now pushes you or brings somebody. And I have friends that they've actually brought somebody, and it was until then, their eyes kind of open and they're okay, okay, okay. But there are some of us that we know what we want to get. It's not always as easy like black and white. But for me, at that time, I just knew it was time you know, I was ready to say, you know what, at this point, then again, I think I would clear the air a bit. So that some people don't think I was making all the money. I don't think
Okay.
I wasn't making all the money because from the coaching sessions that my pastor was giving, two things
Mm,
you mentioned is, look, you don't have to be making all the money. One,
mm,
two things
mm,
that you should have a source, meaning that
mm,
either you have an education, a training, something that can fetch you the funds, even if it has not happened now, it would
mm.
happen soon.
Yeah.
So meaning that you can put your hands into work and you can get it done. Secondly, you are able to learn, meaning someone can teach you. So you've never been a husband before, but are you willing to learn how to be?
Mm,
Because a lot of people just kind of go right into it, not even knowing. For us here is that before you even get there, yeah, you have to attend all the premarital sessions.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had 10 of them, 10 sessions.
Very
So
good.
imagine going to a class for at least an hour plus each time. So 10 times. Even there was a portion where we had to do one with a pastor from Nigeria, right?
Mm,
So if you're not,
I like that.
yeah,
Intentional.
if
Mm,
you're not willing to learn how to be, then when you get in there and something goes wrong, you're not going to be adequately strengthened to handle the issue. So those two things for me, I was like, what do you have in your hand? You have a
mm-hmm.
master's education, you're looking for a better job. You have skill, like skill that if you drop your education aside, can you do anything else to feed your family? Like that, those are the kind of thoughts that were coming because at this point now you ask yourself, the 2 cups of rice that you used to boil for yourself, can you make it such a way that you can feed yourself and feed somebody else easily? And that was the truth.
Mm.
Everything that I could cook in my house, then by the way, I'm a good cook. So for the guys that want to trash in, I'm a good cook.
Mm,
Anything you could cook, you can cook it and serve too. When you're
mm,
buying, like things for your house, you just figure out that 2 people can actually use it.
mm,
You go on vacation, is if you add a little bit more, you can pay for two. So you
mm,
really don't have to start off owning all the bells and whistles. In this country, own a
mm.
Tesla is a big thing now. Everybody wants to drive a Tesla. I'm sorry, if you give me a Tesla, I'll drive. But did I have a Tesla? No. I had a wonderful car.
Mm.
I think one of the best cars you could, as a young man, you could have. And it could take me, somebody else, 2 people at the back. I still
Back.
have that car
Mm.
till today. So just being in a place where I was told you can do it, don't be afraid. Because I think one of the things that we'll probably talk about is people think I must have X and Y. I was saving. I was saving some money because I knew at one point, no matter how sweet your mouth is, dating is expensive.
Mm.
Let's just put it, dating is expensive. Going to the restaurant, going to, try to visit. If the person is not in close space with
Mm.
you, you're going to have to
Mm.
be taking a bus, catching a flight, going there, which was almost kind of my case,
Mm.
and but we'll get there. I had to do the long haul, the traveling, the chasing, but then because I now had the tools, I knew I now had a car. I could drive a long drive and ensure that we meet, right? So there's a lot of intentionality in saying, I'm ready now, let's go for it. And once you begin to put it out there, you just find out that, look, the person that you never used to see before, you just start seeing
Mm.
them. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that was what I was getting at. And you answered, Umar, you're so good at answering questions. That's
Uh,
really good. No, because I've done over 100 interviews. So I know how sometimes we have to still be rephrasing the question. So that's a lot. That's a
mm,
lot to learn. And I thank Jacqueline for sharing the points, for sharing the lessons that he's picking from
Jackie,
this. Yeah, so Jackim, please, I can actually connect you. Josie, is Jackim single? Do you know Jackim?
I know
Obiora? But
Jackie. He's
I think he's
my
single, so I
he's
can
close
literally
to me.
matchmake him. I just want you to know. We can talk via the DM afterwards. The moving to one of the things you shared is that you were empowered.
Yeah.
You were empowered. So, do you think that this could be one of the things that some guys are missing? And for those who don't understand what I mean by he was empowered, he had a pastor who was passionate like me, just let people know, hey, you are single and you are doing well, come and get married. But let me teach you how and all that, not just pushing you to get married. So you had like the mindset and the mind space for and the readiness space to also get equipped to get married. You said that it's helped you. Do
Yeah.
you think that this is something that guys do not have, that is probably not motivating them? Or what are your thoughts regarding a guy getting ready, or well, being in a space where there is marital education and encouragement as well? What are your thoughts regarding that?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's probably one of the things that is missing in our circles, right? Where you go out on a guy date where maybe like 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
If you're the only person there that is a married person, maybe you have a friend that you grew up with, you guys are all in the same age group, and you just kind of ask and say, who is going next? Right? Oh,
Mm.
say, more, I am not ready, or I've not found. But you're like, I may not know how much you're making, but bro, I know that you're making good on your income, you live in a nice
Yes.
apartment,
Yeah.
you drive, you go to Mexico for you do all the good things of life. So what is
Yes.
the issue of, and maybe you know that they might have been seeing someone. So they might
Mm.
have somebody that is close by. But the main thing is, are you ready to commit? And I think a lot of that comes from that not knowing that it's possible. Whereas they haven't been exposed to the realness of this thing, that just as you would sit down and apply for a job, you sit down and say, okay, I want to make 100K next year and everything. It's the same way. You have to also sit down and say you want to do it. And we all have this. I can speak for myself.
Yeah.
I spent 25 years in Nigeria. So nobody would tell me I don't have the experience of my own country. Oh, I had enough. And then here as well,
Mm.
it's like anything that you're looking for, we are big on saying we want a mentor. So mentor, mentor, mentor. People get mentor to get jobs. People get mentor to get a residency.
Mhm.
So what stops you
Mm.
from getting a mentor in something that is going to be a lifetime? So unless you don't see it as important, which the truth is, a lot of young men haven't come to because the truth is, it's a good thing. And I'm going to throw out there to every young man that is on this call, or that will hear about
Yeah, the replay.
the yeah,
Mm.
about this conversation, is there are certain things that you can do by yourself, but there are more things that when you combine the power of somebody else, especially even a friend, you will see the changes. Not to talk of a spouse. I'll give you a good example. Here, it kind of, if you're going to go buy a house, right? Houses are crazily expensive here.
Mm.
It will be almost difficult for one person to buy a house by themselves. But then
Okay.
when you come as two, the bank sees you as a power force. They know that, okay, two incomes are coming together. They respect it. So there's more that can be done with you. So my feel is for anyone that is in headspace of saying, I'm ready, but I don't know how. The
Mm.
way you seek out a mentor, the way you seek out someone that has gone through the path, because unless you're able to see it work, and I know that there have been many homes and marriages that have failed. If you're concerned that there's going to be a failure in the end, you're already setting yourself up for an issue. So and then there are thousands of people that celebrate 25 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage. Those should be your goals. So you say couple goals. It's not, wearing all the fine dress and being on the boat. Couple goals, in my opinion, is 25 years from now, are we still doing this? Right?
Mm. Yeah.
So there are people that are like that that you could go and pack. And I can tell you, there is no married person, maybe, that has been married more than 5 years, that will not be willing to share you one or two things. And we'll probably talk about that if we have time. Is that when we started to date, one of our templates was two things. If you're going to date, we're going to go to a public place where either we have friends and date, or we're going to go visit even people that I did not know from her that are married. We're going to go to their house and actually observe them in their house, and vice versa. So I had some people I met here that married 5, 10 years, but they just kind of brought me in as a brother, as a son, and we would go do our date
Mm.
in their house just to observe them,
Mm.
because it's like what you once you can see it is possible. Like, and it's not always nice and clean.
Mm.
Children are messy. I remember there was one we went on a Christmas, I think it was on a Christmas Eve or so. Man, it was interesting. Kids were everywhere. And I can remember one of the guy said on the day of his wedding, he barely had $5 in his pocket
Mm.
on his account, because he was like broke, but
Mm.
he did it. But they're living in a nice house now, 4 or 5 years after. So I think, oh, look, okay, if this guy can start from here,
Do
I'm
it.
also not even starting from here. I can do it.
Mm.
So make a choice, find someone to mentor, to coach. So some people might want to your mom and dad might not be the best coach.
Mm.
I will talk about that later. They could be there could be a motivation and inspiration to draw from, but
Mm.
because they are close to you, they might have some sense of holding back on some things.
Mm.
But then when you look out outside, and these pictures are there, they are couples. There's no way you tell me you're an adult, you work, whatever you do, you go to the church, you go to the mosque,
Mm.
wherever you spend your time, there has to be some form of, someone that is old enough that can actually just talk to you, say hi, you can talk to them and ask the real questions. And we'll
Mm.
talk about, hopefully, if we get in that direction, the kind of questions you should be asking to
Mm.
get information to prepare yourself, to say, look, I'm seeing somebody. What are the things that I need to know now? What are the things I need to start putting in place? You can't put everything in place on the same day. You can't build a house in one day. So
Mm. That's really good. Some men, I want to know if because the steps that you are taking, even though it may not be
mhm,
easy, it is simple, it is not complicated.
it's not.
Because a lot of times we humans like to complicate things. So, do you think that the men sometimes also are looking towards the wrong direction? Because like you said, and it is even a principle, what you continually see and hear enters into your heart and it automates your life. So I know that it is that a lot of men are watching the blogs, the vlogs, and all of this
Hmm.
horrible things happening in marriages. And then there are those that are coming out to say, oh, this woman scammed me. All the stories are there. If you're looking for
Wow.
bad stories, you are going to get
Oh
bad
yeah.
stories. So do you think that sometimes the men are also looking in the wrong place? Because this is my work. This has been apart from before I even got into this marital space actively, I've been working for women, with women, for women, serving women for close to a decade. And I know that there are a lot of good women. So
Yeah.
I would like you to please speak. Maybe now it may not be your experience, but the experiences of those that you have encountered. Could you speak to us about what sometimes guys may be looking at that is not realistic? I like what Deborah said, particularly of the speaker is mind blowing. In fact, Obere has just been giving it to us. I had to commend him. No, you are good at answering questions. You are really, you know how to
Thank
answer
you.
the actual question without beating around the bush. So thank you for that. And somebody is, bears me witness. So if you could speak to us about that, what men can do to focus on the right attributes. We
Yeah,
haven't got into why you chose your wife. We'll get there, but you are really drawing from a space that is really important. So I don't want us to lose those train of thoughts
yeah,
before getting to
surely.
that. So please speak to us about that. What men need to know, what they need to focus on in picking the right kind of woman, or where they even need to be looking towards, so that they are not constantly hurt and thinking that women are not all well, some women are not ready to get married.
Yeah. I probably start off by saying that, you have to be whole
Mm,
before you look for somebody else, right? And by whole, I mean is know yourself. You probably be able to witness. We used to take that course back in CU. What was it called? TMC, where it says, man, know yourself, right?
mm,
It's really just kind of boils down into that. Do you know yourself uh, as a young man? Are you able to stand on your own? There's most of the principles that I work with are scripture based. So that a man, not a boy, not a male child, a man would leave his father's house and be joined. So while that could be a simple step, is that you're going to leave physically. That's
mm,
for me, that's the way I interpret it. You're going to have to leave physically, meaning you're out of your parents' space physically. Secondly, you're going to live emotionally. You're going to know that now you're going to be responsible for yourself and soonest responsible for somebody else.
mhm,
So in your physical location, in your mind, you're going to leave the source because a lot of times what we see now is that people still kind of they hold on, they cling to family, right? Which
mm,
is good. But if you're in the space where you know that you want to start your own, and starting your own meaning you being first a family by yourself, you would
mm,
you would join hands and faith with somebody else. You will bear kids in the near future. So being once you read, you know that your source is coming from yourself. You can
mm,
stand by yourself. I think that's the first place. And then with regarding where to look,
mm,
the truth is, you can't really change who somebody is, right? But
mm,
you can influence the space around you. So I say I know, I mean, even up to now is people don't even take a chance on themselves. They live by themselves, they have a nice space, they're single, they're clearly single, right? They spend time on the ground, on
mm,
TikTok, and everything that we put out there, including myself and everybody else, it is always the good side of things. We always, we
mm,
try to shine light on the good side of things, but in the realness, it is not always as shiny, right? It is
mm,
not always as glam and as golden as sparkles, and there's butterflies in your stomach.
mm,
That happens in a cycle format. So where do you even spend your time? Where do you even go to? Do you even take yourself out in the first
mm,
place? Did you even go to like a bar or just go to places where people can see you?
mm.
Now, if people can't see you, then I'm talking for the guys now. I'm never talking about
Yes,
the
yes,
ladies.
yes.
For the
Mm.
guys, I mean, if you spend most of your free time with your guys, your homies, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're going to be married to one of them,
Mm,
right? So there's this thing about knowing that, okay, I have friends, but I would like to be involved. I would like people to see me. Once
Mm,
again, I'm somebody of it. I spent a good portion of my life in a church space. And not just say
mm,
I go every Sunday.
mm,
I serve, like when I mean serve, I do it sometimes. I cut myself like blood. I'm very involved, right? One thing that people see is when you have a heart to serve others, it opens doors, it attracts some people your way. If you're someone that nobody can really account for, I'm
mm,
sorry, if someone has a family of 6 girls, all adults, they'll never say, I have this friend who is gay, he's a nice guy. Somebody
mm,
should. Yeah, yeah, no. You have to be approachable. You have to be someone that people feel confident within your space. People feel that their self-esteem, also grows in your space. Because when it comes to being a guy, and it might come up in our conversation, is this thing about your self-worth, your ego, your pride,
mm,
your man pride. If people are not drawn to, there's a way you have your self-esteem, your ego, that people are drawn to. You just feel that people just want to be in your space when things are going on. If you are not there, they're like, you guys wait for this guy to come. That is the kind of
sure.
the kind of space that you want to be giving out, where people can draw you in, because you don't get hitched or engaged with someone that is also a nobody,
Mm,
right? And the reason I say that is that by the time you start saying, I want to start seeing somebody, that person too also has a circle of friends that can say, this one is not the person you want to, stay clear. Or once they hear that is this person that you're seeing, all hands on deck, they begin to say, you know what, whatever it is, we are getting you guys to the altar. They
mm,
start making sure that, if they're inviting this person for a concert, please bring your plus one. Oh, hope
mm,
he's going to come. That kind
mhm,
of thing, it doesn't come by you just stay in the house, folding your hands, hanging out with the guys. You have to be someone that is set up. My pastor will tell me, you know, your space, you have to start making it a home, not just your man cave
mm,
where your game station is the only thing that you focus on. You have to start making space so that you can accommodate somebody else. It's really easy to swipe and scroll on the ground, and you see
mm.
all the bone straight hair, the fingernails
Yep.
all made, the dress, everything looking good. That only happens once in a while in the real sense of things. When you're now with somebody, I'm telling you, the hair is not always going to be straight. The fingernails are not always going to be made. The clothes are not always going to be nice.
Mm,
That prim and nice you see on the Instagram is not always going to be there. So
that's
you yourself always have to think about that and say, you know what? I'm willing to put up with the nice and messy at any time. I'm willing to get my hands involved. And I want to be in spaces where people can actually see me. I can tell you, like I said, I serve in church very well. From Nigeria, see you here. The technical thing is still my thing, audiovisual.
mm,
I had there's somebody in church one day. I'm kind of close to her husband. She approached me one day and said, "Guy, come. I had a friend I want to introduce to you." So like the way you carry yourself, the way you do this thing, I think you need to have somebody by your side.
mm,
I think the way you put it, you will look even better with somebody by your side. The way you carry yourself. She introduced me to somebody. We went on a date. I never know. I thought like a blind date. We had a dinner, we talked, but it didn't just go. we can skip them. But just the fact that somebody else can see you and say, this person will look. I have friends. I have people that if I introduce them to something can just happen. And a lot of us have that's how we've just been saved. I'll tell you, we've been saved like that. And I've had friends that one introduction and that was it. 6, 8 months later, they were in the altar. So being being somebody that people can be confident to 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 say, look, if my sister is interested, I would be glad to introduce you to her. There are a lot of guys that are not like that because we have this thing about just we put one type of ourselves outside and we are something else inside.
Inside, yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
there's because you have to be whole. Like, how do you deal with issues when you're angry? How do you deal with things when you're broke? How do you deal with things when you're sick? Right? Some people really can't handle emotions. They say, "Oh, guys don't have emotions, or our emotions are in a short range." We do have emotions. It's just that they are very few. And when we show them, it's either very on the extreme or not even there. People need to
Mm.
know how you do things. Do you care if somebody is sick? Do you go out of your way to be nice? And nice is not only, oh, you're on the phone and you're giving like bedtime voice, all of those things.
Mm.
When the matter don't reach, how do
Mhm.
you handle it? Because there's so much that happens in the real world.
Mm.
Somebody loses a job, somebody needs help, a family needs, I don't know, attention or something. How do you
Yes,
exactly
yes.
how do you step up? Because like I said, the fun fair only happens every once in a while. When
Mm.
you dress up and you drive your nice car and you come, but the real thing is more you have to pay rent, you have to pay
Mhm.
mortgage, you have to feed, you have to pay the bills. I mean, in this country, oh my God, bills are endless. So just being someone that can show up is something that I think a lot of young men can do, and there's help. There's help, which is why we have calls like this, and there are a lot of of investment in getting there. Some people might not do books, you might attend conferences. In fact, I know that Pastor Kingsley was in Canada some few months ago.
Mm.
We attended because it was just like, oh my God, like this is somewhere that we know from Nigeria. The crowd was
Mm.
crazy. Invest in things like that where you can be exposed to the truth of who being a man is, being a spouse is. Yeah,
And if you claim, in addition to what you've said, if you claim you are introverted, that's why God is raising people like me
yes,
who are who have the right values and are doing matchmaking the right way. I tell people all the time, I know matchmaking has gotten a bit of a funny um, um, idea when people say, because people think it's just, oh, I'm a 33-year-old something, Akwa Ibom, and I need, that's not all there is to matchmaking. That's a realm that some people operate in. And I'm not
yeah,
saying anything with that, but for people like me, let me speak for myself, and I know people that will come up in the future as well, there is the process that you go through
mm,
to be able to say, hey, you are fit to even be in a relationship. We can go ahead to match you for male and female. So, like you said, find the one that you can invest in and invest in one that will take you towards your goal. We already spoke about focus and priority. Once you focus on that and prioritize that as a man. So let's get to the why you chose your wife. Why did you choose your wife? What made you say this is the woman? Because you are the man, you do the choosing. I say it all the time.
yeah,
The men have the access to the marriage. Women have the access to the sex, and they can refuse. They should refuse to give a man sex before marriage because it should be in the context of marriage. But men have the access to the marriage. So could you tell us why you chose, even though you had many women that you could choose to get married to, why you chose your wife, and then how you both met in the same
yeah.
story?
Okay. So for me to answer the question straight before we kind of go into the juicy stuff is
Okay.
the reason. I mean, and I was thinking about this for this call,
Mm,
and I think I always come to the same answer is I chose her because what I heard about
mm,
her, what I saw about her, what I was able to confirm about her, they were all the same.
wow.
It was true. I didn't hear one thing, see something else, and experience something else.
No, that
So
thing.
it was
Mm,
true, very, very true. And that, for me, very simple. That was kind of what I knew was best for me. Someone that I know that their personality was confirmed across board. And then the other part was that someone, by the time I confirmed all of that, they also confirmed that this is who they are and they are willing to build with me. Because
mm,
from the get-go, we're very upfront about, things like the background we're both coming from.
mm,
I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria. She's
mm,
from the western part of the. So there, it was very just we had a clear knowing of where everybody was coming from, and
mm,
there wasn't any hesitation into it. So from the beginning, while maybe on our part, there could have been some doubt, which I heard after about doubt about where I am from and who I would be. I already knew that I was coming from a place where someone has already blessed me to say, whoever you bring, we will accept. So it did not really matter. So I was clear, and that was for me why I chose. How did we meet? The same. So I'll start from I heard. Uh, a friend of mine, interestingly, a younger friend of mine, so somebody that is probably like I'll take him as like a younger brother. Like I give like a couple years that is like years. Has just casually just mentioned to me that he has a sister that is that can cook. And every time he goes to the house, she cooks well, and she's she's in kind of close proximity to me and she's available. Are you interested? Give me all the tips and say, this is who she is, this is where she's schooled, this is what she does. She's very huge on youth and young adults. She serves, she does this, she does this. And I know this person too, very active and he serves. I'm like, okay, that was the first thing I've heard. Then I said, okay, maybe a number also. So he shared her number with me and for a couple weeks or months I didn't even act on it. But one of the days I just said, I was taking a walk. I said, yeah, me just call and say hi. Right. I called, introduced myself. Call went well. We spoke. You know, I asked just some nice, not too diving in questions, just on the surface, like what do you do for work, like how close are you to this guy? Like, oh, his his parents and my parents are close, so like he's like a brother to me. Like, oh, he mentioned you can cook, just softly getting into who you are and kind of what's your headspace. And right up there, it was clear that okay, I'm available. I want to date. I don't want to date for long. So someone that already knows who and what she wanted. She doesn't want to date for long. If it's not going somewhere, let's just call it, a spade is spade. And then by the time we started to meet, it was clear that this day was not going to take nonsense. Like it looks as if she has had her experiences and she knows what is good and what is bad. It was very clear, like things like boundaries, like this, that, like, and then right up at the top, like after like our first date, is like, what are your plans? I'm like, this one is very, very direct. And so for me, that's one of the things I love about my wife. Obviously, she's asleep. Very direct. Like, what are your short-term goals, what are your long-term goals, what's your background, and what do you want to achieve, and like is marriage in the view, so that we're not wasting time on date one, date two, date three, date four,
Yes.
and getting to know our family, and then something happens, you become the ex, right? So it was very clear cut. These are the things that I like. These are the things that this is my mindset when it comes to being a family person. These are the values, and so like our 2-3 dates, man, it was like a classroom. It was like a very. Oh, I mean, there was structure. So even before we get into like the mushiness and everything, there was structure. We were already, and then one thing I really, really, love that she was ready. She was ready. So by ready, not just emotionally, she was in the headspace. She has been praying, she has been studying. She had told her friends that she was ready to find somebody. As a single person, she was in a different city than I was. And I got to know this after. And one of the days she was just like, even the church she was going to, she was like, there's nobody here that I'm vibing with. She literally came. It takes, if you don't drive, to put it in context, it takes about almost an hour plus with a train or a bus to go from her city to mine. And so she came to my youth church, which is New Spring. Shout out to New Spring Church. You guys at Canada, show up. She came all the way to attend a service just because she just thought, I need to be in a new space. I need to see what's going on out there. And she came and we met. I think that was like the first time we actually met, even before the call. So
Wow.
we had just met randomly. But then again, I used to serve. I was the first to be in service that day. She was waiting. The door was closed. So I opened the door and like, hi, welcome to church. What's going on? Nice to meet you. Where are you from? And oh, I came all the way. I'm like, what? You came all the way? It's like, how did you hear about us? She was seeing us on Instagram. And so we spoke a little bit. And then later when I called, that call, it was like I wasn't speaking to a stranger. Right. So there's that intentionality part of things where I want something. So if you meet someone that's already looking for something, it just is. And so like we started to talk, and it was very, very, very clear. There was no there was no gray area. It's just within a couple. So let's see, from summer of that year 2018. So from about June to September, which was like 3 months. So I was like, if this thing is going somewhere, you have to come and see my parents. My heart went into my stomach. But I was like, what? I've never made a firm commitment. Let's go. I was like, where are they? It was like, oh, they're in another city. Another city meaning that we have to drive 5 hours to that place. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. I called some of my friends and said, look, this is what is happening. They are also in that city. I said, guys, I'm coming to this city. This is what I'm coming to do. Start praying for me. I need a place to sleep because I'm not going to go and sleep in her father's house. I go there, you know what? We're going to make space for you. Just come. And that was it. I know there's this expectation that, okay, when you go and see the father and mom for the first time, you're going to be like shaking and shaking. But then, see, that's why your personality needs to speak out. On the day we got there, I just dropped her off and just said hi for a bit. I said I was going to come back in the evening for the real stuff. They have already started. It was later I knew they started to prepare. They cleaned the house. They made sure everything was doing. It was like this is like we are expecting somebody. So they're already expecting. They're expecting a man to show up, no matter how old you are. There was for me. I knew that you have to represent. I brought my suit. I got a suit. I dressed up. I came. Sure. My friend made sure that I ate very well so that I would not be hungry. I ate, I dressed up. By the time I got into the room, I greeted, knowing that they are from the West. This is another thing, knowing culture. I greeted in the Western way. I prostrated. That one alone just opened, it made the conversation easy. Her mom asked me two questions, and that was it. She said,
Mm.
tell me how you got born again and tell me about your family. That was
Mm-hmm.
it. I can tell you, after answered those two things, if I recall very well, the conversation did not even center on me. They were just
Mm.
talking about themselves and her and talking about themselves. And we spent about an hour plus. I could not believe how easy it would have gone. And
Mm.
when you are engaged with somebody, you're married to somebody, you're also now part of an external family. So there was
Mm.
everything was very clear. Everything was next steps. Let's get it done. How are we going to plan a wedding? We agreed. Two of us were single people. We had jobs that we could get better jobs. We said, you know what? We're not going to break the bank.
Mm.
Whatever we had, we're going to put it together and we're going to create a budget for the wedding. If anybody wants to splurge on us, that's fine. But we're going to stick to this budget. And that was it. So we didn't break the bank. Of course, all my savings went into it. All my savings, and even herself too. Like all her, she like that. So when I say why I chose is from the
Mm.
get go, someone that was willing to pour out themselves. We're not saying, oh, I'm going to hold my own money. You
Yeah.
you spend.
Mm.
Of course, every time we went out for date, I was first to bring out card
Mm.
to pay. Even when she
Mm.
said, "Oh, let me pay," I would insist. So there's until today, by God's grace, where we are now. Whew, oh boy, we've done some. We've entertained. We've done some huge projects that, when I think about it now, I'm just like I don't know if other people that I thought would have been the one would have been able to see this through because
Mm.
I, when push comes to shove, man, you need somebody by your side that you agree to the core. Of course,
Yeah.
wedding planning came with its own drama. Parents can be anxious, parents can be clingy, but because you can agree, which is why till today, like, well, whatever we want to do, we have to agree. Once we agree, I really don't care about what anybody else is saying. So from the
Mm.
beginning, I saw someone that was confident in themselves. They were not
Mm.
like, not sure of who they are. They knew what they wanted, at least in a mindset, and they would always speak it out and confident as well. And goals, like let's even wrap it up there with like goals. She had goals that, man, it blew my mind. She wanted to be an author. She is one now,
Mm.
right? She wanted to, maybe teach or something. She's being like an adjunct professor in one of the schools, not because she could do it by herself, but because I was there to say, well, it's possible. You can do it. Write your book. Write, do it. She was never a business type of person. I pushed her to say what start a business. Now she's doing her business thing. So when you share goals, someone that from the beginning could tell you these are my goals, these are the things I want to do in life, man, you got to just jump on it. So for me, man, someone that is a ready person that doesn't have everything known now, but ready to get it done. I fell in love with that, and we are going to work now 5 years together, and ooh, it's been a ride. It's been a
I'm
ride, I
really
can tell you.
happy for the kind of person that your wife is because, like I usually say, if there is no supply, then the demand, the terms of the demand is going to change. We've got to have more women who are more insistent on saying, we are going to move forward seriously. I don't have time to
Hmm.
play. and I don't have time to play. But the problem is sometimes for some men, when we've dealt with that, with some questions you've answered, when you do that, they can easily go and meet another woman that is unserious or
Yeah.
that is not willing to settle down and is willing to just dash out her body and all that for whatever pennies or whatever security or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is that the woman is looking for at the time. So which is why, as much as I know this conversation is for men, it is also for women as well. There's a lot of women who have not found themselves
Yeah,
and they
that's
need
true.
to, because if every woman is saying, no, we're going to be serious, for guys that come to us, it's also going to it's going to make the men to get up to a higher standard. And I think that's why some men are just relaxed. They just think like, if Neka doesn't answer me, I'm going to go to Ngozi. But, well, that's why we're doing our part, is to enlighten so that we can have more women and men do the right thing, so that the supply, they know that, okay, this is what it looks like in the dating market. This is what the supply
Mm-hmm.
looks like. So I better go there ready. Okay, so I think I've got two more questions and then we'll wrap up. What
All
do
right.
you what do you think that men look out for in a woman generally? What have you even come to realize that men are looking for in a wife? No, now not woman, but in a
In a
wife.
wife, yeah.
Just general qualities that women should. This question is actually for the wives that are looking for. So now, of course, I'm talking about serious men. What
Mm-hmm.
are men looking out for in a wife when they want to date and then marry you? What are the things that serious men are looking out for based on your experience and
Yeah.
maybe those around
Um, I think right off the bat is just someone that has a track record of being there to care, right? You might ask, how would they know that from my Instagram? How would they know that from one or two chats? The truth, like I said, I heard, like,
you?
this person is not just floating in the air. Because I can tell you from a guy's perspective, if they see your picture on Instagram and maybe they know that you're in the same environment and they are, the next thing they're gonna start asking people, do you know? Do you know? Do
Mm,
you know? Have you heard of this person? Where does she work? Do you know? And when those questions start going out, the truth is results start coming back without you knowing. So what are you
mm,
putting out there? Do people know who you are? So guys are you probably heard some of these things that guys would introduce some a female friend to their friends, but they only take one to see their mother, right?
mm,
You've heard something like that. Why is
mm-hmm,
that?
mm,
They know where they are coming from, and you might want to be judgmental about that, but the truth is they know that at the end of the day, someone that respects themselves is the kind of person that their family would want to see. Like you can't be, I'm going to be very careful here, very, very careful so that I don't get backlash, but also going to
mm,
be as truthful as I can. Right? I know it's is is becoming common culture to just post whatever you want to post out there. But the truth is, even our parents now are on these platforms. I've had friends that say like they say, "Oh, this is the person I'm choosing," and they create. Is this the person that you want to bring to their house? They showed, and it's like, where's the
yes.
confidence at that point? Like, I
Mm,
didn't want to go into details, but where's the confidence? By the time an auntie calls and say, that one that we
mm,
see everywhere is
mm.
not the person you want. So, and it goes both ways too. It really goes both. So,
It
what are
was.
guys looking for? Someone that knows that themselves. Is it difficult to put that on social media? No, it is what you're putting around you, right? Of course, there has to be a level of attraction, and of
Mm,
course, I'm attracted to a person in a different way somebody else
mm,
is attracted to myself. Of course, put yourself together, present well. I just
mm,
that's where I'm going to draw the line. Present
mm,
well. Your dress up, the way you appear, the way you culture, the way you conduct yourself, whether it's business casual, whether is 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 like church work, whatever your faith is, right? Present well when you appear, conduct yourself in a nice way.
Mm.
People take their cues from that. So we're talking about some of the things that one might like by just even hearing about you. Now, by the time they begin to get to a closer space with you, are you someone that wants to build together? I have a lot of friends, and they're like, looking for a self-made man, looking for this. And honestly, I always say, if that's really what you want, it's not a bad thing to ask for, because there's always a man that's self-made that's looking for someone that is not right there and would take you as their person, right? But then, for me, speaking for myself, I want to build together. So, of course, face-wise, you might be pretty, you might be cute. Do you want to build together? And it's really easy and to know whether you make more than me in terms of your earnings. Do you consider me as the head of the relationship when that time comes? Right? What are your values when it comes to like household and family? Your values. A lot of young people haven't thought about those things, so they don't even know how to show it. Right? Like it's very simple. I'll give you a practical example. You're having a get together, young people, everybody there is single or trying to not be single, they're mingling. And you're in this same space with this person. Watch how they treat watch how they treat their other friends. Things like even like serving food, even like picking up after themselves, or even I mean, so some people are chatty, like they just chat, they just say anything. Watch how they manner themselves in a very comfortable space. You begin to draw instances to understand where this person is coming from. Is that something that you're able to put up with when there's nothing to lose? Now imagine when there's something and to lose. That will multiply that person's response by 10 times. So just little things like that. You're prim, you're proper, you show up, you dress well. For me, even the dressing well is I can take it, I cannot take it. It's just what it is. But how do you even respect your family? How do you talk about your family? How do you talk about your friends? These are some of the cues that people look at, and it has to be on both sides. Now we're talking of on both sides. As a guy, how do I talk about my family to friends? How do I entertain? How do I keep my space? Those are some of the cues. Which is why, yes, I can fancy you on the ground, but I want to see you behind the screen, right? So, going out for like a friend's birthday party, you know, taking the person as a plus one or just inviting them, you get to see what they are. So men are, while they are visual, they also want, someone that's resourceful. I can tell you, if they know that or more, you're going to just be spending and blowing money. Look, money is hard to make. We all know that. And if whether you're making your own uh, money as a lady, from a guy's perspective, if they know that you're just going to be spending, it's for some people it's a deal breaker. Yeah, for some people it's a deal breaker. They can keep you as friend, but they will not want to take the next step. So for me, those are some of the things. Present well, communicate well, communicate your value. If you don't communicate the value that someone will say, what are you bringing to the table? And I've seen a lot of all of the things that people put out there.
Mm.
What are you
Yeah.
bringing to what are you bringing to the table is
Mm.
really what matters at the end of the day. Yes, we can all bring our bodies to the table, but
Mm.
outside that, what else are you bringing?
What else?
Yeah, what else are you bringing?
That makes a lot of sense. And the part of resourcefulness is very important. Whether, like you said, the woman is earning 10 figures or 100,000 figures, whatever figures you are earning. It's not just about the figures that you are earning.
Yeah.
It's also about knowing how to combine, build, just be resourceful.
Yeah.
Resourceful, you need to, if you're watching this and it's triggering you, then you need to go and investigate and understand what the meaning is. You can't, why this is important, Ubira, and I'm really drawing that out is because many people now want to do things because other people are doing it. When the day and age wake up to the lives of other people, unlike back then where there was no phone, or even if you had phone, you had to go to the cyber cafe to browse. You wouldn't, you are not waking up to seeing somebody in the Bahamas or wanting. So there, we're going to go through different seasons in our life, and as
Absolutely.
a woman, you need to understand that, hey, you are not going to rule your life through what you are seeing, but rather you should be driven by vision and purpose. I'm just saying that because that is causing a lot of challenge in some people's home. So that's a good point. That's not the only thing. And I know, yes, men have their own as well, but that is one part where women can also learn to learn from. They can learn to do better. Can learn to do better. So the final question, I've noticed that Oberat, unlike some other guests, I've asked them about the money part and all that. So I don't want to repeat that part about, oh, when you don't have money, how can you get into a marriage? But what I want to ask you is, there are those that are not in the struggling class, they're not struggling, that's not it for them, they passed that. But now they are now successful young men who have status. Some of these people, I have names, although I will not call. Some of these people are pastors of churches, some of these people are coaches, prominent coaches. Some of these people, we see them all around, even in Nigeria and Africa, who they're successful, they have money, they have what it takes, or at least we think that they have what it takes to go ahead to build a family. But it looks as if the more successful they get, the more single they want to be. Is there some fear of bringing in a wife when a man gets successful, especially when maybe he starts getting over the age of 40? If you could speak to us about this mystery. It's a mystery that I've seen, but I just thought, let me ask as the last question, because we always talk about, oh, the ones that don't have money, but they're the ones that have money. But like the more they grow in influence, the more single they become. And I'm not wondering, is it harder to get married when you're successful? If you could help us with that as we close out.
Yeah, I would try as much as to. We're all trying to be successful. We're all trying to be successful. We're all trying to make it out. For 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 a number of the ones that I know that are really doing well, I think it's more that their attention is into their business or a career path, right? So it's taking everything that they have, and so there's really no room. There's no room to accommodate what we on the other side would call a relationship, right? So, and I say this because the truth is, it takes it takes a very intelligent person to create wealth. I'm telling you. So if you see a young guy that is, a founder, a CEO, a tech bro, a business person, a creative, someone that is doing all this like fashion show, it takes everything from them. Some of them they go nights without like having a proper meal, or I mean, even when they do, they're doing it in the most fanciest space. They just want to eat and they are back to work. So the truth about it is taking everything that they own. Their brain is already tied into it. And so you that might be their friend and say, this young man is doing well. Why is he not? I'm sorry. Relationship is not on his agenda. And so the truth, it would take someone that really knows them, that knows the struggles that they are going through, why they are doing what. And you ask them, they will tell you, look, I'm solving a big need. I'm making the world a better place. I'm building an app that is changing the world. So they are doing something that their brain is tuned to, and they can tell you
Mm.
that having a relationship doesn't help the world. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like,
that's I.
mm, their
They will tell
mindset,
you, yeah, they
some
can,
of. Mm.
even when they try, even
Mm.
when they try, it's never serious. It's transactional, in
Mm.
and out,
Okay.
in and out, in and out. It's very transactional, and that's because I think I've met some. And we've spoken about some of these things. Their
Mm.
brain is tuned to what they are doing. And like you said, the more successful it is it is taking up everything about them.
The more
Some of
single.
them is exactly they it gets to a point where it's like they begin to feel. I mean, when they have some downtime, they know that something is missing. But the truth is, all they know how to do is to fill that space with more work,
Mm.
right? Fill that space with more work. While I want to be like somebody again that is making money, making money, I also know that I value companionship. I
Mm.
value companionship very well. They value business transaction. I'm calling somebody in
Okay.
China. I'm in the US today. I'm in Canada tomorrow. I'm in UK. I'm doing business. That lifestyle, they like it.
Yeah.
Typically, you will find that if they are even going to find somebody, it has to be somebody at that same space.
Mm.
It might start off that they are doing business together, and so the truth is, if you're seeing them from afar, you might not be the person that that they might be looking for because you cannot comprehend the pace of their life, their timelines. Those people, like their brains are wired different, where success is very important on the scale of what they need. They need to be successful to be alive. And so if if you're looking for like those kind of people, I would say you need to step up your game because
Mm.
they they might not be able to deal with someone that wants a slow paced life. And that might happen in their older age. Like you said, the more as they are going older in their 40s,
Yeah.
someone in their 40s, ooh, that conversation is beyond me at this
Yes.
point. They might settle
Yes.
down, but
Mm.
you find that even when they settle down, it will be difficult for them to settle down with somebody that might not appreciate the work that they put in. So they rather have a casual thing, a fling once in a
Mm.
while, and that's it. And so
Yeah.
if if the fling somehow builds up to getting a relationship, man, it would take more than themselves to guide them to say, you know what, I want to make you a wife. I want to make myself a husband. So, but until then, I'm sorry, their brain is wired for success. Money,
Mm.
let's get it, let's get it. And it goes with the same too
Mm.
for the women. The women that are career focused. And I think at this age in time, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm. Mm.
The US vice president is a woman. I
Mm.
would thank God that there's somebody there that can be a representation of power. Now, so
Mm.
if you're a career person, go for it.
Mm.
Go for it as far as you want to go, and let nobody else tell you otherwise. I think that's something that I I have got to learn that as much as you want to climb up, know
Mm.
your values. Me, I value family. I value enjoyment. I value homeness, which is why I had to fight to start working from home. Because I was like,
Mm.
if I spend a decade of my life working out of the house, traveling here and there for work, I'm going to miss out on family, right? So
Mm.
we build an environment where it is what we want. There are other people, they don't mind 6 o'clock, they're out of the house. You know,
Mm.
my parents did that because that was the only kind of job they could do. But
Yeah, at the
not
time. Yeah.
exactly at the time, but now we have options. You can work from home, you can work hybrid, you could travel for work. I have chosen, I like, at least especially for the building years, the first 2, 3 years, man, we said no matter anywhere one person goes, we follow the other person. If they send you to China, we pack our bag, we are going to
Pack
we're going to China. It was different with our moms and dad. I
Mhm.
think throughout like my high school, my dad was stationed in a different state, and he only come back in the weekend.
Mm, mm,
That had some changes or some things to do with myself. So for people that are very career focused, I will not come on this call and say you should give it up. No, 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 no. Because I'll tell you, when you are broke, anybody want to be your friend. Everybody will be your friend. So please, if you're making money, make the money. If you find somebody at that place, if all your friends are married, and that's what typically happens. By the time their immediate circle somehow married,
mm,
they begin to feel left out, and so they start to try. So there's hope.
mm.
There is hope. There's hope. Hope that helps.
Yes, it helps, and that's why, because sometimes I've gotten younger people reach out to me, they want to meet their partner, and I'm like, I'm doing this thing for older people, Jerry, but I just realized that, no, let me not send them away. Let me
Yeah.
not send them, which though I haven't. It's just that when you come, like, how old are you that you want to meet your partner? But I realized that the younger, the better.
Yes.
I've got people who at least a person who has shared with me that, hey, if I didn't meet my wife and get married to my wife at this particular time, I'm not even sure I'll be married now. Yes,
Mm.
a man was saying so. So it is, at the end of the day, there are a lot of lessons that we can learn.
Yeah.
Perhaps we are listening to this. Don't think it is too early to start prioritizing marriage and family if it is important to you, like you have shared. But thank you for giving us answer and insights into
Yeah.
that.
My
Because,
pleasure.
I'm still looking forward to interviewing, and I know I will, somebody in that space so that he can just share from his perspective what is
Yeah.
happening, wanted to get married early and all that. And I know I will. It will happen soon. Okay, so
Absolutely.
let's get to your rapid fire question. It's just a cool way,
Ah,
to log out, a cool way to sign out from the very
okay.
insightful interview. So the rule is you have to respond to the question in about 30 seconds. You're not supposed to take long. That's why it's
Mm.
rapid fire. So I'll just get right
Let's
into
go.
it. Just a few. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color, I think right now is black.
Okay. What is your favorite food?
Ooh, I eat anything. Honestly, I eat anything. Yeah,
Okay, that's
that's it.
good though. You can easily adapt. That's good
Yeah,
actually.
I eat anything.
Okay. What are you allergic to?
Allergic to nothing. Yeah, nothing.
What is your best movie?
My best, my
Movie.
best movie. I'll say the Avengers. All the Avengers.
What is your best book?
My best book. Hmm. My best book, I would pray the fifth and say the Bible.
Mm.
But I honestly read a lot of Bishop T.D. Jakes' book. I actually have a couple in front of me. Yeah, I do like his
Okay.
books.
Were you given birth to in Nigeria? Were you
Yes.
born in? If you were not born in Nigeria, what country would you have liked to be born into?
Hmm. Oh boy, this one is. I
Yeah.
would say. I would say. I don't know. I actually don't know.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you have to choose one. You have to find one to choose.
Okay, I would say an Asian country for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll probably
that's
say Japan. Yeah,
uh,
I'd
gold.
probably say born in Japan.
Okay, gold or silver?
Hmm. In like just gold or silver, choose one.
Yeah, that's gold
I'll
or
choose,
silver.
I'll choose gold, of course. It has value. It has more value than silver.
Black or white?
Black.
Yellow or pink?
Huh? Yellow.
What
Like
is one favorite thing about your wife?
one favorite thing about my wife, likes enjoyment. She says she's built for enjoyment, and I like it because me too. I like enjoyment. So we vacation together. We just pack our bags and travel.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay. What is one favorite attire for you to wear?
a corporate shirt, a full suit, full dress up corporate suit all the time. I can do that
Okay.
5 times a week. I mean, we want to see you together, so I go suit any day, any time.
So,
Yeah, suits.
what is your favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing to do is I would say I love to cook. I love to cook.
Okay.
If I'm
No.
stressed, I just give me the kitchen space. I love to cook. And of course, some other things to do. Like I love the media space. So anything graphics, video, lighting, I love to do. But of course, it's not always accessible. But cooking, ooh,
Okay.
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What
Yeah.
do what do you like to do for fun?
What do I like to do for fun? I like to rest as well and just chill and watch a movie. I also like to be amongst friends. So like,
Mm,
hang amongst friends, just like banter and
mm.
talk. Yeah, I love
Okay.
that.
Small chops or jollof rice?
Jollof rice, Jerry, I beg. Who cares for small chops? It depends on the small chops
People are
though.
always confused about which one to choose, because
Jollof
uh,
rice, jollof rice,
fruits or vegetables.
fruits or vegetables. I will do fruits. Yeah, I will do
Okay.
fruits.
Would you rather take the train or would you rather take a ship? The railway or waterways?
Hmm. Water wheel. It has it
Okay.
it has a cooling effect, a therapeutic effect. So yes, I've been on both, so I can say for sure.
Okay. The bus or an airplane?
Airplane though, airplane
Okay.
straight up. I
Writing
can't so
or
far.
speaking?
I'm sorry.
Writing or speaking?
Speaking.
Rain or sunshine?
Sunshine all the way. Summer like anytime, any day.
Okay. How do you prefer to learn, audio or visual? How do you prefer to learn?
Visual, visual. I'm a
Okay.
very visual person.
A day at the beach or a day in one of your favorite restaurants?
Hmm. Ah, this one is tough. This one is a tough one for me. It's a tough one. I'll go with restaurants. There's food.
Sounds. If you could change one thing in Nigeria, what would that one thing be? If you had the power to change just one thing in Nigeria.
Whew. One thing in Nigeria,
Hmm.
man, power supply.
Okay,
Power
straight up.
supply.
And finally, what would you like to be remembered for?
I would like to be remembered as or for someone that gave everything to ensure that things are possible. Depend regardless of your background, you can achieve what you want to achieve when you set your mind to it. Someone that has helped people. Yeah,
Mm.
that's one thing I like to be remembered for.
Thank you so much, Obiora, for this amazing interview. And just
Yes.
warm regards to your wife. She's just an amazing person from how you have shared, just the little part that you have shared
Thank you.
about.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
to those who are watching the replay, thank you. Please share, subscribe, share your comments, share your questions, and make sure that more people see this video. This has been a lot of value, a lot
Hmm.
of value, and I hope that you are kind enough to share it with someone else. Thank you so much,
Thank
Obiora,
you,
and
Chief.
thank you
This was
to
good. Thank you
everybody
for the invite.
to
Thank you.
accept